definitely did not look like a commercial plane. I didn't see any windows on the side.
Mark, if what you say is true, those could be cargo planes or something like that. You said you didn't see any windows in the side?
I didn't see any windows on the side. I saw a plane flying low. I was probably like a block away from the subway in Brooklyn, and that plane came down very low.
I mean, it was like a cruise missile with wings right there and slammed right into the Pentagon. Huge explosion, great ball of fire.
The plane does not fit in that hole.
It definitely did not look like a commercial plane. I didn't see any windows on the side.
Mark, if what you say is true, those could be cargo planes or something like that. You said you didn't see any windows in the side?
I didn't see any windows on the side. I saw a plane flying low. I was probably like a block away from the subway in Brooklyn, and that plane came down very low.
I mean, it was like a cruise missile with wings right there and slammed right into the Pentagon. Huge explosion, great ball of fire.
There is an explosion that occurs on the lower right corner of the nose just before the plane hits the building. The administration's apologists claim this is a reflection. However, reflections go in one direction only. If we look at this explosion from other angles, we still see it. Therefore, it cannot be a reflection. Some wonder if it was a static discharge. It cannot be, since a static discharge would look like a tiny lightning strike if it could be seen at all during the day. Furthermore, a static discharge would have jumped from the closest point of the plane, the middle and top left of the nose, since it was in a rising turn to the left, not the lagging and lower point on the right side of the nose. This clip, filmed by the Naudet brothers, two French filmmakers, is the only known footage of the plane hitting the first tower. As the plane approaches the tower, notice the exact same explosion at the exact same spot on the lower right-hand corner of the nose, just before the plane hits the tower. Watch the shadow rise up the World Trade Center tower as the plane hits. The shadow, and therefore the plane, touches the building after we see the explosion. This explosion had to be a high-tech weapon or previously placed explosives in the World Trade Center. The Bush administration's case is totally dependent on the attack being low-tech, that there were no high-tech weapons or pre-placed bombs at the World Trade Center or on the aircraft. This explosion proves them wrong.
He told us the operatives had been instructed to ensure that the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escape.
The French filmmakers, the Naudet brothers, were in New York City doing a documentary about the New York City firefighters. And this clip is the only known footage of the first plane hitting the first tower. Now this video clip that we've just examined came again from the Naudet brothers documentary that was being filmed in the streets of New York City on the morning of September 11th. This documentary about the New York City firefighters was going to be assembled at a later date and was not televised. In fact, there was no live coverage at all of Flight 11 as it hit the North Tower. After all, it was a surprise attack. So if there was no live television coverage of the first plane hitting the first tower, how do we explain the following comment from George Walker Bush?
What was the first thing that went through your head when you heard that a plane crashed?
Well, I was sitting in a schoolhouse in Florida. I was sitting there and my chief of staff, first of all, when we walked in the classroom, I had seen this plane fly into the first building. There was a TV set on it, and I thought it was pilot error. I had seen this plane fly into the first building. There was a TV set on it, and I thought it was pilot error.
There was no live coverage at all of Flight 11 as it hit the North Tower.
I had seen this plane fly into the first building. There was a TV set on it.
There was no live coverage at all of Flight 11 as it hit the North Tower.